Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dangerous Ideas. Let's do it. So, the ramifications of Operation Epic Mistake keep growing by the day. We keep seeing the results of this insanity and horror show at the same time. I'm going to start off with, click thumbs up, click subscribe, everything. I'm going to start off with just for funsies. You remember that aircraft carrier that supposedly had a fire in the laundry room? And so nobody could do laundry anymore. Here's Trump saying that it got attacked from 17 different angles.
We knew there was a problem when we noticed at 1 o'clock in the morning, every 32 seconds, another airplane, a very fast plane, was coming off the deck of an aircraft carrier. That's actually the biggest aircraft carrier in the world. And every 32 seconds, boom, boom, boom. And it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So we said, okay, I think we're in trouble. But they were ready for us, Johnny. And we were ready. He said we were ready. And then they hit us. And they came from 17 different angles. They were here, they were there. We ran for our lives. It was over. And it was.
Now, I'm sure they cut off the video. I didn't watch the full video. I'm sure that Trump goes on to say, and then we destroyed them and they look so dumb and we obliterated them and killed their children. I have no doubt. It's not Trump admitting that the U.S. was defeated or something. However, he is admitting that the largest aircraft carrier in the world got hit from 17 different angles. I don't know that there are that many angles, but Trump's not good with math. But it is just it goes to show the reality versus what we're being told. We're being told there's a laundry fire. There was a fire in the laundry room, and it turns out Iran is striking our aircraft carriers. But so yeah, and you're going to see a lot of that. That seems to be the standard news for standard operating procedure for the U.S. as the empire seems to be collapsing in all ways. There's so many ways that turning off, for lack of a better term, the Strait of Hormuz, it's not just oil, which is the biggest one, but it's also fertilizer. It's also helium. It impacts foods. Like food prices are going to be soaring. There's so many ways that this is in the hands of Iran right now. And as I've said before, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, Iran's going to just destroy all of the United States. No, the United States, sadly, because of the horrors it's committing, still has the largest military, still has 900 military bases around the world. That's not going to change, but this is having a major impact. And now you see the prediction markets are down to 16%. And, these predictions, you got to take them with a little bit grain of salt. This is not like the absolutes of what's going to happen. But the prediction markets do show something that's significant because most of the people betting on this, willing to put a lot of money on this, they tend to know something. They tend to not just be your average Joe. There's some of that, but the people putting the big money tend to have insider. Oh, I'm covering up the chart here with the comments at the moment, but tend to have some insider knowledge, as we've seen. People have made millions of dollars by being insider trading on these prediction markets. Anyway, the odds that the Iran regime will fall, and this is by June 30th, but yes, okay, so soon, I guess, but still, it's not like this is going to suddenly turn around, give it a little more time, is down to 16% chance in these prediction markets. And I think this has a lot to do with what's been going on in oil prices, in the stock market. Here are the prices for Brent crude oil, which is how the world kind of monitors oil prices. This is the past 6 months. And it shows that they are, of course, shooting up. It's at $112. Before this war started, it was around 65. So, with a little longer, and we could see the doubling of the price of Brent crude oil. And then Outside of that, regular oil prices are up to $103, over $100. These things have massive ramifications. It's not just people betting on the price of oil. It impacts people around the world. You have countries, I think I have one to show you in a minute, but maybe not. But you have countries that, like the Philippines, that are now announcing that people should work a 4-day work week because they don't have enough energy reserves to have everybody working, commuting to work, everything else. Now, I'd say everybody should work a 4-day work week. How about a 3-day work? How about a 0-day work week? I think we should, honestly, let's just chill. Just everybody can chill. You notice, like, there's less death on the weekends. There's less war. There's less destruction. Like we should just do weekends all the time. People kill each other less. Here's the Dow Jones collapsing as well. It's down to 45,000 as of today. This chart is showing over the past 6 months. It obviously went up and up and up when Trump got into office, because look at the Dow Jones for, the success as a society. It's like asking a psychopath how he's doing, right? The Dow Jones measures how well corporations are doing. Corporations are doing well when they're exploiting everybody, when they're most effectively exploiting everybody. So the markets went up after Trump was elected because you put a psychopath in office. And, Biden's also a psychopath. All of our ruling leaders are psychopaths. But I know I'm talking about right now, but what I'm saying, however, you can be kind of a more unfettered psychopath. You can be more loose and swinging at the hip. So you get Trump in there. It's the system is even more exploitative. Workers have even less opportunity to stabilize and have some authority and have some comfort and have some control. And you see that the Dow Jones did better and better over the past while. But then now it's collapsing down again. So we're down to 45,000 on the Dow Jones. The S&P 500 has now gone down to 6,380. So in every way, all the alerts are flashing red right now that Iran has a lot of control. The U.S. has lost control. The U.S. is trying to pressure NATO allies into helping them to maintain this insanity. Here's from even mainstream media like The Guardian is writing, their title is "A War of Regression: How Trump Bombed the U.S. into a Worse Position with Iran." He didn't mean bombed the U.S. He meant bombed as the U.S. into a worse position with Iran. So even the mainstream media is catching on that this is a catastrophe. But there are signs now. I don't know whether this is Trump's bluff to try and get better negotiating power or not. But the Pentagon is preparing, apparently, for weeks of ground operations in Iran. And I don't know how much to read into this. You could easily say this is evidence that Trump is getting ready to invade Iran. Like the Marines are showing up, they're going in there. But I also think that Trump is smart enough. Psychopaths are often very smart. He's smart enough that he knows he wants it to look like, whether they're doing it or not, he wants it to look like they're going in because that enhances his negotiating power. So I don't know how much to read into it, whether it means the U.S. is actually committing troops or not. Obviously, that would be a fucking catastrophe. But, fucking catastrophes are our motto, man. We love it. It's like, like at TGI Fridays, their motto, every day is Friday or whatever the fuck. For us, it's like, welcome to America. It's a shit show. It's all a catastrophe. Just get in line at the airports now, literally. Get in line. It's gonna be, you have to get in line for 6 hours just to get a ticket to the shit show. Just to get on the plane into the shit show. Get in line. I'm going to play this clip. This is a former CIA officer, Josephine Gilio, speaking about Iran. And it's interesting that, and you know, Joe Kent's another one. I might play a clip from him later on. I know he's an awful piece of human garbage, but he's saying some things that are useful at the moment. But it's interesting that even the people who were part of this machinery of death, like they signed up for it. They knew what they were getting into. They at least to some degree understood what the U.S. empire was and what it did. Even some of them are breaking right now, are breaking ranks and going, this is a catastrophe. I should also, you know, I'm doing a terrible job of producing the show at the moment. I should also hype what's coming up next. What's coming up next? I'm going to talk about Israel. I'm talking about the West Bank. We're going to get into that. I'm also going to, this could go under my, my new category. How did I get that wrong? It doesn't. I've gotten two things wrong in my entire life. So one was like the week before Russia invaded Ukraine. I didn't think they were going to invade Ukraine, so that was one. The other one was that kebab I bought on the streets of Bucharest. So those are the two times I've gotten something wrong. But so this segment wouldn't happen that often. But I have a new one for the segment. How did I get that wrong? And it's not actually, here's why it doesn't quite fit, is it's not actually me getting something wrong. It's me highlighting someone that should not have been highlighted. Later in this show, I'm going to tear apart some of Professor Jiang or Jiang, however, I assume it's pronounced Jiang probably, but who has gone viral everywhere. And I showed one of his clips because and that was all I knew of him, was like a 1-minute clip. And in that 1 minute, he was saying things that were useful and important and accurate. I have now seen other clips of him. Dude fucking out of his mind. All right. And I don't know why. I don't know if he's a psyop. I don't know what he is, but I'm going to tear apart some of his, another one of his clips in a bit. Anyway, let's start off with this former CIA officer, Josephine. This says Gilbo on the screen, but maybe that was an auto translate accident. Anyway, the tweet that tweeted out said Josephine Gilio. On the screen, it says Gilbo. Anyway.
And it was, without a doubt, a school if you looked at it through satellite imagery. It was, without a doubt, a school when you looked at it through the onboard camera of the Tomahawk missile. It was clear. Now let's talk about when the attack started on Iran. 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., Israel, along with the United States, began attacking Iran. By 10:20, the staff at Minab school began evacuating the children. Strike one, hit the school. The kids moved to the prayer room. Strike two, hit the prayer room. 163 kids dead. Strike three, hit nearby. Multiple sources, including intelligence reports, regional sources, and U.S. officials are required to confirm a target for the U.S. Navy and military operations to ensure accuracy and reduce errors. This is how it works. This is how it worked that day. NBC News reports USS Sprunitz, a guided missile destroyer, shot the Tomahawk. Commander Leigh R. Tate, Executive Officer Jeffrey E. York, commanded USS Sprunitz, who shot a Tomahawk and killed 165 little girls. After this was done, the same destroyer conducted a replenishment at sea with USNS Henry Kaiser back ready to fire. March 4th, March 10th, and March 18th, they replenished their firearms. They replenished their weapons. No pause for review, no pause for investigation, no calls for this command to appear in front of Congress and report to the American people why we just bombed a school knowing it was a school. Nothing. Silence. lies, excuses. Who are the terrorists? Who are the bad guys in this story? This is the story of our timeline. By our own definition of terrorism, and I can say this as a former counter-terrorist officer, we are the terrorists. We are the bad guys.
That about sums it up. We are the terrorists. And I think we need to start using this language more often. I did a recent Substack, free to read on my Substack, saying that the Donald Trump and the ruling elite, it's not just Trump, it was the same under Biden, but and Blinken, etc. But Donald Trump and the ruling elite are psychopaths and terrorists, and we need to use that language. It is utterly insane that we call other countries terrorists, and yet the United States is always just freedom bombs. It's always just friendly bombs. It's always just democracy missiles. It's always just bombing children for the good of everyone. These are the good kind of bombs that bring happiness and peace and wealth and prosperity. These are the good kind of bombs that protect women, right? That protect children as they blow them up. It's fucking preposterous, and yet our media continues to go along with a lot of that terminology, right? There are certain groups that are terrorists. Hamas are terrorists. Hezbollah are terrorists. Houthis are terrorists. ISIS is terrorists. Al-Qaeda is terrorists, etc. There are some that are allowable to call terrorists. And then there's the United States. Oh, in Israel, no, not terrorists. Not the ones that actually kill hundreds of thousands. Even if the definition of terrorism were accurate on any of those previous groups I just listed, they couldn't dream of killing the numbers we kill. They couldn't imagine of the ability of killing a tenth of what we kill, of who we kill, of just the children. They couldn't imagine obliterating that many children. And yet, we're not the terrorists. We drop democracy bombs. Hello, John Devlin. Thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate the support. And if anybody else wants to support the show, I hope you'll join up at realecamp.substack.com. More on that a little later. But let's keep going. While we're on the topic of our Pentagon, they're getting desperate. Trump's getting desperate in so many ways, but the Pentagon is now, they keep lowering their requirements for who they'll accept into the military, into ICE. On the last episode, we covered how ICE is now taking volunteers, unpaid volunteers. If you want to just help beat immigrants for free, then you can do that. It's just unpaid. If you want to taser a child for free, without even getting a paycheck, then it's that opportunity is available to you now. But this article is about how the Department of Defense, or Department of War, I guess, is lowering their standards. They're toying with the idea of reinstituting the draft. They're talking about raising the age of the draft so you can get drafted even if you're older than 12 years old. And however, at the same time, they're still trying to stop. They're kicking out trans people. They're kicking out gay people. They're kicking out black people and women from promotions. They're stopping them from being promoted because we've got to remember that this is at the heart of it. This is a very racist entity, a very sexist entity. This is from NPR. Defense Secretary Hegseth has intervened personally to stop the promotions of black and female officers, which apparently is unheard of. The head of the Defense Department is not usually involved. Like, these promotions go on a certain course, a certain tract, and the head of the Defense Department getting involved in stopping promotions of anyone is unusual. And yet Hegseth has personally gotten involved to make sure black people and women are not being promoted inside the Pentagon. What a good guy. It's funny because you'd think just be a psychopath in one area, but no, it turns out they're psychopaths in so many areas. And they're like, yeah, psychopaths, assholes, they go hand in hand. But interestingly, at the same time, Pete Hegseth, also a snowflake, can't handle criticism. He has apparently filled the Pentagon press briefing room with only servile flatterers, only butt lickers. And one of the outlets that he'll allow in is something called Lindell TV, which was founded by the My Pillow guy who has repeatedly gone bankrupt and has spent his entire life as a crack addict. Now, here's the thing. I have nothing against people doing drugs. You want to do drugs, you do drugs. My problem is that this guy, My Pillow Lindell, he's involved in telling other people who's good and who's bad, right? He now claims to be very religious. If you're a left wing, then you're Satan, and if you don't support Trump, then you're a horrible human being. That's where it gets to be a bit critical to also be a crack addict who's destroyed countless lives. Anyway, so one of the outlets in there is Lindell TV. The other ones are, the Fox News and the One America or whatever it's called, the Big Dick Eagle Network or whatever they call them. So he's just filled the Pentagon press briefing room with these outlets because he can't apparently handle any criticism. He just flips out when he faces criticism. All right, so let's go back to, speaking of flailing and struggling, let's go back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, in this same speech where he seems half asleep and he's mumbling into the microphone, but he's also admitting a lot of things. He admits to using countries' Air Force bases or bases. I don't know what term I was looking for, but using their bases for U.S. jets to bomb Iran. So you're using. He's admitting to using countries against their knowledge in this war of aggression against Iran.
You have a lot of time left over. That's our new head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And he said, how do you do that? Well, sir,
and yes, for those of you listening to the podcast wondering why he sounds like he's asleep, because he's clearly asleep. He is absolutely asleep. I've actually put this on fast forward here. I'll play at regular speed so you can see. By the way, keep in mind, his nickname for Joe Biden was Drowsy Joe Biden or Sleepy Joe Biden or whatever. Here he is asleep giving a speech.
And he said, how do you do that? Well, sir, we were only able to fight from this one very far away location because nobody wanted to use all of our portable runways that we have all over the Middle East. We have portable runways. Can you believe it? We have everything. But nobody wanted to use them because they didn't want to insult the country where the runway was located. I said, they wouldn't even know. Do you think some country's going to know when we have jets taking off? They don't know. He said, well, I agree with you, sir, but whether they know or not, who cares? He said, so we have about 17 locations. You have a lot of.
So he's admitting to using Air Force bases, jet runways in countries that don't know they're being used, or at least he's claiming they don't know. The tweet says the countries he's referring to are the Gulf states, Turkey and Jordan. Either way, this is of course breaking international law. It's of course more war crimes. I mean, added to the long list of war crimes that we've committed, but it's definitely breaking international law. Like, you can't use countries for wars that they're not signing on to. But again, when you are just a belligerent, war-creating state filled with psychopathic, unfettered lunatics, what is another war crime? What is another breaking of broken international law? It doesn't mean anything to them. Anyway, so I'll wrap up there with this topic of how desperate the U.S. is getting, how much control Iran seems to have of the situation. Now, again, and I keep repeating this isn't to say like some people want to be so pro Iran that they want to say, oh, Iran's got them and they can do anything they want. And it's like the United States still has loads of nuclear weapons and loads of ability to just kill innocent people. So let's not pretend that this is just game over for Iran, meaning game over for the U.S., I guess it was a better way to phrase that. It's very much not, but Iran has a lot of power here. And as I said, the prediction markets are now showing that there's a 16% chance, according to those putting money on it, that Iran will fall. Okay. I'm going to get now to, I'll circle back to Israel in a moment, but I want to spend a moment on Professor Jiang that has, and I don't know if people have Americanized his name and it's Professor Jiang, but anyway, I showed a clip of his. It was the only clip I'd ever seen of him. It was 1 minute last week. And in that clip, he was saying things that were fairly accurate, that Iran has a lot of power, that Iran can threaten the petrodollar, that Iran could go after the desalination plants, etc. All important things to note. And so I'm not saying that I got anything wrong by talking about that clip. The only thing I got wrong was apparently this guy a lunatic. And I don't know the details about him. Some say he's CIA and he's like a psyop. I would be shocked if he's CIA. I would be less surprised if he's Mossad, connected to Mossad. But the reason I'd be shocked if he's CIA is because he did explicitly talk about the petrodollar and the power Iran has over the petrodollar. However, he seems to go a little lighter on Israel, which would make it more understandable if he's Mossad. But this guy has gone crazy viral. And the other thing to note is that while my stuff is crazy suppressed, I mean, Unredacted Tonight started to do a little better last year than most of my stuff, and they immediately, YouTube, etc., immediately crushed it. So that videos that were getting tens of thousands of views, which was rare for me because I'm so suppressed, were suddenly back down to fucking nothing. And that's been the norm for me. That's been the norm for me for years, is that if I do anything that starts to gain traction, it will be crushed. Now compare that to someone like this dude, Professor Jiang, goes from nothing to millions of views overnight and continues to be platformed in every way. I think Tucker Carlson just had him on. The clip I'm going to play is actually, I'm just going to point out some ways that he's wrong about geopolitics, because that seems to be the main place people are playing his clips, is about geopolitics, about Iran, etc. However, if you go into his other areas of so-called expertise, he's even worse. There are videos, and by the way, most of his videos are him pretending to teach a lecture. Like there's no one in the class. Occasionally you'll hear someone talk, but it's like the same guy. So he has like one person there and he pretends as if he's giving a lecture to a college class, but there's no college. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, he pretends he's continuing a lecture, and in his other areas of other topics, he says science isn't real, evolution isn't real, Big Bang's not real, everything is just God. Every idea, scientific idea, anything that anyone's ever had, or even just writing a fiction novel, all God. God did it. God puts it in your head. And he pretends to be teaching a lecture about this. So whatever college class this is hilarious. The college class where they tell you all science is actually God. God did it all. Thank you, Angry Prole, for donating over on Rumble. Angry Prole says Professor Jiang is CIA. Something about a short expose on him. He was arrested and deported from China in 2002. Yeah, he just anyway, he's talking about all the people that have fallen for him. Well, I'd like to say I didn't really fall for him. I just played one clip, but I guess that counts as falling for him. I don't know. But yes, he's a he's a moron. Anyway, so I'm going to play something on geopolitics and just point out some of the ways he's wrong once you actually let him talk in a larger way about this stuff. Here he is talking about how the U.S.-Iran war is bigger than it actually looks.
Okay. Why? Because if we were to destroy Iran, the United States would have complete control over Middle East oil, and it would control global trade for the Strait of Hormuz. And therefore, the United States can maintain its empire, okay? So a really...
Now, this part, he leaves out the petrodollar when he says it here. Early in another interview he did, he said petrodollar. So I don't know why he's leaving it out here, but to me, that's one of the biggest things is to, yes, the U.S. would love to have the Strait of Hormuz, but the biggest thing was to get rid of the powerful countries or destabilize them or crush them that are pumping oil outside of the petrodollar. And the biggest countries doing that, Iran, Iraq, Syria, was going to be Libya, was going to be Venezuela, and then Russia. Now, they've tried to restrain Russia. They've largely failed in that regard. But all the others, Iran's the crown jewel. And you know, we'll see what happens with Venezuela. But the thing is, they had already stopped Venezuela from pumping oil. Like Venezuela is not pumping much of their oil. They have the more oil reserves than any country on earth, and they could hardly pump any of it because of sanctions and because of what the U.S. has done to them economically. So they had largely stopped them even before they kidnapped Maduro. But let's keep going.
Simple objective. Let's destroy Iran. We don't care how, we don't care why. Let's just go do it. Okay? Iran has another strategy, which is...
Keep in mind, there's no one there. So every time he says okay, he's not saying okay to anyone.
Control Strait of Hormuz and destroy... CENTCOM is basically the American military in the Middle East, called Central Command, okay? So those are two major military objectives of Iran. And we get...
Now... destroy CENTCOM is a bit exaggerated. I don't think Iran thinks they're going to destroy CENTCOM. I think they want to have a deterrent effect against the United States. That's what they're working on, and they've said as much. They said, we need to show the United States that if they try this again, we can deter them. And so they want the U.S. to suffer economically because that's the tool they have. And they want Israel to suffer in a variety of ways. But destroy CENTCOM, CENTCOM is based in Florida. I don't think Iran thinks they're going to destroy CENTCOM. So that part's a little odd to begin with.
You can understand why. Because if CENTCOM is destroyed, Iran has complete control over the Middle East.
Now, this is where he really starts to reveal himself. He acts, I'll play another minute and I'll say it.
Now, Dubai, now Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait have to pay taxes to Iran. Now Iran, the new kid, is now the bully of the Middle East. Right?
He acts like getting taxes from countries for using your waterway or your, going through the Panama Canal is being the bully. Or he used the phrase, Iran wants to control the Middle East. Iran has never, through all of the aggression by the United States, all of the belligerence, all of what Israel has done, Israel committing genocide, Iran has never shown itself to need to control the entire Middle East. It is responding to being attacked. No one can deny that. Iran right now is responding to being attacked. And they're using the levers that they have available to them, which the biggest one is the Strait of Hormuz. So this idea that Iran now is trying to take over the whole Middle East. He's trying to, look at him. Iran is trying to be a big bully. Is it? Or is Iran trying to survive? Is Iran trying to show that it deserves sovereignty and its own country? This is where he gets into just being a little, it started off as being a little, and and then it gets into fucking bullshit.
Right? That's a hegemon. That is the political objective of this war.
He just said Iran's global objective of this war is to be a hegemon. Iran's global objective of this war is to stop the war and stop the United States and Israel from fucking bombing them and blowing up their schools and their hospitals, you asshole. Like, what do you... Iran's goal is to control the world? Yeah, that's totally what... Iran's really been showing that is all the time. No, the U.S. has been demonstrating that. Israel has been demonstrating that. At minimum, they want to control greater Israel, which is stealing large swaths of about 5-6 countries. So this is what I mean by I'd be shocked if this guy's CIA, but I would not be so shocked if he's connected to Mossad.
Okay? Israel is a bit more complicated. All right. For Israel, one other thing is humble Israel. That's the other thing, because even if you're the United States, you still have to deal with Israel, okay? And Israel is the great military power of the Middle East. So you want to humble them. You want to weaken them.
He also acts like Israel and the United States are two separate entities. They're one and the same. They're like Israel's economy is the U.S. Israel's economy would collapse without the U.S. Israel's military is the U.S. Israel would not have enough bombs to keep intercepting missiles and bombing Gaza without U.S. bombs. Israel and the U.S. are nearly one and the same. I mean, there's some slight ways that you can say they're not the same country, but so he acts like they're completely different entities. They just happen to be allied. And also, he says the goal of Iran is to humble Israel. I don't know, like, you just said their goal is to destroy CENTCOM, and yet their goal is to humble Israel? Just like nip at their heels? Just like humble. They want them to feel a little bad. I don't, maybe like if this were someone I respected, then I might be like, I used the wrong word. It's weird to say humble. But the fact that this guy's seeming increasingly suspect, I'm like, why is it just humble? Their goal is to humble Israel. Maybe their goal is to stop Israel from fucking bombing them and murdering their scientists. Israel and their officials and their generals and their fucking everyone. Israel has been assassinating Iranian leaders and scientists for decades. Decades. Maybe Iran's goal is to stop that. What do you think?
You can't destroy Israel because Israel has nuclear weapons, right? You piss off Israel, those nukes start flying. You don't want that, right? So those are the three main...
So he does, well, this actually is a strike against him possibly being Mossad, is most people connected to Israel don't want to admit Israel has nuclear weapons, whereas this guy is clearly saying it up front. I mean, everyone knows they do. It's not really a secret, but however, for some reason he goes, you pissed off Israel, nuclear bombs go flying. But a minute ago, you said you said Iran's aim was to destroy CENTCOM. The U.S. has a lot of nuclear weapons too. So his logic doesn't even make sense. It's like Iran's aim is to destroy CENTCOM, but they're not going to really piss off Israel because they have nuclear weapons. But the U.S. doesn't have nuclear weapons. Like, I don't even understand his logic that he's trying to use.
Major political objectives for Iran: control the Strait of Hormuz, destroy CENTCOM, and humble Israel. Okay? If you are Israel, actually for you, the strategy is different. What you want to do is this. You want to destroy CENTCOM and destroy Iran. Okay?
He thinks Israel wants to destroy CENTCOM. Has anyone else noticed that? Israel is CENTCOM. I mean, CENTCOM is like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the U.S. and Israel against Iran. Israel wants to destroy the U.S. I don't know who this guy's working for, but I don't know. I really don't know who this guy's working for, but it's, I mean, here's the other thing. He could be just legit a lunatic. Like, you don't always have to be working for someone. Everybody wants to jump to the conclusion he's that guy's connected to such and such. Maybe he's just dumb. He could just be a dummy. By the way, he said in one of his anti-science that science doesn't exist lectures that he doesn't plan for his lectures. He didn't plan anything for his lectures because God puts everything in his head when he gets up there. So just know this guy doesn't plan anything. He just relies on God to put it in his head right as he gets up there. So that might be part of the problem. That might be part of why this is all getting so weird. Because he didn't plan anything. He's just hoping for God to figure it out.
Those are your objectives. Why? Because if you destroy both the United States and you destroy Iran, then you are the sole hegemon in the Middle East, okay? Also destroy the GCC. Destroy.
So, okay, I'm gonna take back my light analysis that maybe is connected to Mossad, because he's saying Israel wants to destroy everyone, including the United States, in order to take over the whole Middle East. That implies that Israel is not using the U.S. to take over the Middle East. What the fuck? What are you smoking, man? What?
Saudi Arabia as well. Why? Because once Saudi Arabia is destroyed, all its resources belong to you, okay? And this creates something called the Greater Israel Project, which is what we'll discuss next class.
By the way, there's no class. Next class. There's no class there. It's just him and I guess God is talking to him. So you got one person there.
And C, that's really important, is that even though the United States and Israel are allies, their ultimate strategy is different. Their objectives are different. In fact, they're in conflict, okay? Then you have Saudi Arabia. What does Saudi Arabia want to do? Well, destroy Iran, because if you destroy Iran, you have complete control of the Strait of Hormuz. Then you can build boldly, okay? But you also want to destroy the US and you want to humble Israel, all right? Does that make sense?
So then and here's the other thing that's so bizarre is really the only reason I gave him a little credit on the last one, the 1 minute. For those of you joining late, I showed 1 minute of this guy like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't realize that he's an idiot because in that 1 minute he made sense. The main reason I give him credit for that 1 minute was because he said the word petrodollar, which is the biggest thing at the heart of the attack on Iran, one of the biggest things. And so I was kind of giving him credit for that. Here he is saying that Israel wants to destroy, Saudi Arabia wants to destroy the United States. When in fact, Saudi Arabia is allied with the United States via the petrodollar, which also gives Saudi Arabia the entire military force of the United States. Basically, militarily, Saudi Arabia and the U.S. are largely one, at least in the region. And so they're kind of linked at the hip. Yeah, there are qualms that Saudi Arabia has with certain behavior of the United States, and they don't love Israel. But the idea that Saudi Arabia wants to destroy the United States, show some actions. What is the evidence of that?
All right. So by understanding how each player perceives the game, we can now understand how they will go about their strategy.
So by making up all of the ways these players perceive the game, make up all the reasons and the motivations and get them all wrong or get half of them wrong, then you can figure out the strategy based on the made up motivations that were wrong. You kind of got to get all of the motivations right in order to understand the strategies.
So the United States just wants to destroy Iran. But as you can see, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Iran all want to destroy the United States. And
the Israel wants to destroy the United States is perhaps my favorite. Israel is the United States. Israel controls the United States. Israel, like in many ways, I'm not one of these people who says Israel tells everything that tells the U.S. to do everything. Like, so there's some people who love Trump that believe that Israel just told him to do bad things, and it's like, no, he fucking does bad things. So I'm not. Israel doesn't fully control the United States, but they are one in this. Like, there are fucking half of the more than half, like 90% of Congress is Zionists. And again, Zionist does not mean Jewish, okay? There are millions of Christian Zionists. There are more Christian Zionists in the United States than there are Jews in the world. So Zionist does not mean Jewish. But 90% are Zionists. You have many of them have dual citizenship. You have Elon Musk making like weekly trips to Israel. You have JD Vance and Mike Huckabee, and these people are just blowing Israel every chance they get. It's like, what? And Israel's doing the reverse. And Netanyahu's fucking American. Netanyahu grew up in Pennsylvania, went to school in Pennsylvania, then went to MIT, then worked at Boston Consulting, changed his name and dropped his U.S. citizenship so he could be prime minister of Israel. And Israel wants to destroy the United States. The worst thing that could ever happen to Israeli power is for the U.S. empire to fall, even slightly, because it would not just be conveniently replaced with an Israeli global empire. That is not what would happen. If the U.S. empire falls, then Israel loses all of the power they have by being linked at the hip. I mean, one hopes the hip. They might be linked somewhere else, but it's too dirty to discuss. They lose all that power. So what? Israel wants to destroy the United States.
And how do you do that? By forcing the United States into a long ground war, right? Therefore, if you're Israel, you don't want to use nukes. Why? Because nukes would end the war too quickly. You want to
Oh my God. Wow. That is some deep, deep lunacy. This guy, fucking idiot. But, and believe it or not, if you get on topics outside of geopolitics, his lectures on evolution and cosmology and stuff, it's wow. It is remarkably dumb. It just gets straight to the dumbest of the anti-evolution, like why we never saw a monkey become a man, so evolution not real. It's all God. So yeah, somehow this guy has become the talk of the town, and everybody's acting like he's the cat's pajamas. So I apologize for playing a 1-minute clip. I did not know more about this lunatic at the time, and it's amazing other people don't do research. I mean, some people, like, I'm sure it makes sense for Tucker Carlson to want to have him on because Tucker Carlson agrees with him on the religion stuff. Yeah, science is broken and it's just God. So if that doesn't surprise me, but outside of the really big Christian people in the space, I don't know why people are jumping up and down about this guy. Thank you to those in the comments section supporting the show. Even just leaving a comment supports the show. Okay, some quick things before we get to some more on Israel. I went to China. Some of you know. I did a few things while I was over there in Beijing and took part in this CGTN debate that I was on. And it was an interesting format. Yeah, by the way, it's free to watch and free to go see over at my Substack. I posted it. That's reallycamp.substack.com. I would love for you to become a subscriber for the whopping cost of one beer a month. Throw me a beer a month to keep this show going. But it was an interesting, not theme, but setup for the show, which we're on 2 debate teams, but we're interestingly not really supposed to debate just what we believe. We're supposed to debate a topic, whatever side of the topic we're handed. And luckily, the first one I kind of believe, which the first topic was the attack on Iran is a make or break moment for the United States. And so I got to speak to something I believe, which is how pivotal this is to the United States and how how pivotal it is to the United States and how it could be kind of the beginning of the end of the U.S. empire. Of course, maybe the beginning was a little while back. Maybe you kind of don't know the beginning of the end until you see the end, and then you go, oh, that was the beginning. But anyway, that's up there at my Substack. There's going to be another episode coming out a little later where I got to be a little funnier. So second episode, I got to be funnier in. And also, I just put up at my Substack for free. I put all of my stuff together about October 7th into one column because it had been in like 3 columns that I did like a year ago. And so I condensed it, I shortened them, and the title is After 2.5 Years, Can We Handle the Truth About October 7th? Connecting the Dots. And I think you'll get a lot out of this article, especially if you didn't read the 3 articles that it's made up out of a while back. So check it out, reallycamp.substack.com. Become a member so you can support this show. And yeah, and share it so that people know the truth about October 7th. It may seem like, oh, that's old news, but the truth is it's been 2.5 years and people still aren't acknowledging the truth about October 7th. People are still not talking or trying to forget the fact that Israel, along with the defense minister, along with IDF soldiers, have admitted that they killed loads of their own people on October 7th. Hundreds and hundreds of their own of Israelis were killed by Israel. So that's one of the things that's revealed in this article. And I give all of the sources, all of the links. You can send it to people and be like, please refute every source within this article. I also go into how Israel knew about that October 7th was going to happen for at least a year in advance. Even the New York Times admitted they knew for a year in advance. I go through how the spotters in the IDF that watched the wall had been raising the alarm for a year, saying Hamas is getting ready to do this thing. We better get ready for this thing. Whatever it is that they're planning. And then they would see them practice, and Hamas would post videos on Instagram of them planning to do this thing. And then Israel on October 7th just lets them come on through, break through the wall, ignores it for an hour or two, and then goes and kills everyone, including hundreds of Israelis. So it is just loads of lies about October 7th. And I put it all into one column for you at reallycamp.substack.com. Free to read, but I would love for you to think that this show is worth 1 beer a month, which averages out to about 37 cents an episode and a live stream and a column. So 37 cents. Can you throw me 37 cents? That would be like fucking awful. Awesome. I was going to say awful. That would not be awful. It would be awesome. Okay, before I run out of time. And I should have reminded you guys about the schedule. There was no Unredacted Tonight this past Thursday, and there will not be one this coming Thursday. 2 weeks off. So we just had the first week of the 2 weeks off, and now this next Thursday, also no Unredacted Tonight, but we'll be back after that. Okay. Here we go. Israel has killed more journalists than all terror groups combined ever. Ever. I'm going to keep repeating that. Israel has killed more journalists than all terror groups, including ISIS, Al-Qaeda. That includes all the Al-Qaeda offshoots, Al-Nusra, etc. Israel has killed, this goes back to 2000, but I imagine almost all of these journalists that Israel has killed have been in the past 3 years, but this goes back to the year 2000. Israel has killed 268 journalists. Terror groups have killed 121. Israel is the number one terror group in the world right now. I mean, I will say there's an easy argument to make it's actually that it's actually the United States. So maybe I shouldn't be so quick. But as I said, they're the same country. Okay, so I'm going to play some clips now. CNN, believe it or not. This is how bad things are getting for the propaganda, pro-Israel propaganda. Even CNN is now doing investigative pieces where they're revealing somewhat of the truth about Israel, and this one is about the West Bank. I've brought you segments on the West Bank before now. What's going on in the West Bank is horrific. In fact, if Israel had not and is not committing genocide in Gaza, we would be talking a lot about the West Bank. But because the West Bank is not a genocide to the level of Gaza, no one talks about the West Bank. In the West Bank, you have what they call settlers, but that's a euphemism for land pillagers or fucking twat bags. They are Israelis who come onto the property of Palestinians and they make life hell. Sometimes they actually set their buildings on fire. Sometimes they just kill their sheep. Sometimes they destroy their olive trees, which are both their means of income, but also olive trees live for hundreds and hundreds of years. So they destroy their income that had been there for hundreds of years. This is the type of thing that the settlers, land pillagers, land pirates, I saw Arcane put in the chat there, land pirates. I considered doing land pirates, but the problem is pirates now are cool. Like pirates, my 4-year-old fucking loves pirates. Like pirates are the thing, man. You know, I don't want people envisioning like a hot Orlando Bloom type pirate situation. So I think pillagers is probably better. Anyway. By the way, fun fact, most pirates, like the real pirates back in the day, not so hot. You know, they had like rickets and like 4 teeth and like a eye that like, yeah, the eye patch looked kind of cool, but then every once in a while they lift it up to let the pus ooze out. It's not, the real pirates, not hot. Mm-mm. They weren't all the pirates of Penzance. But anyway, let's play some of this CNN clip of what's going on there. So, the settlers come, the land pillagers come, and they create havoc in the Palestinian homes. And when there's some sort of disagreement or something, guess who shows up? The IDF. And guess what the IDF does? They just threaten the Palestinians. Sometimes they arrest them. Sometimes they torture them. Sometimes they even kill them. Imagine living in that. Imagine that's your day to day. That's your every day. You wake up and that's your situation every day.
As you can see, one of them is right here. And, you know.
I'm playing this backwards. I have another clip. I'd rather play the other one first. So hold on. Let me do that one first. CNN sent somebody to the West Bank, and they're basically attacked by the IDF. Okay, here we go.
Producer Abir Salman identifies us as journalists before translating the soldiers' commands.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
So the soldiers just immediately came up and started pointing their weapons directly at us, telling everyone to sit down immediately. Obviously, we're not posing any threat here.
The commander comes straight for our camera, and within seconds, a soldier has just put photojournalist Cyril Theophilus in a chokehold, forcing him to the ground.
Don't touch him like that. Don't touch him like that. Give me my phone.
The soldier who assaulted Theophilus continues to demand he turn off his camera before another smacks my phone.
So as you can see, what we have seen happen in the last 24 hours is that settlers came to this area. They settled that hilltop. And now you have a lot of soldiers coming to this area.
See, he's using the euphemistic terminology. Settlers came and they settled that hilltop. You mean they sat on someone else's property in order to like be in their face and just cause trouble and see if the people that actually own the property respond? And if they do, guess who shows up? The IDF.
With the Palestinians in this area, they're on top of the home of Imad, the man that we were just speaking to. And we're seeing the soldiers treat the Palestinians in the area as a threat, when really what started this problem was obviously the settlers who came in the middle of the night and took over land that's not theirs.
The Palestinians here are detained and questioned. Soldiers detain us too and walk us back to our vehicle. They say they're trying to establish order between settlers and Palestinians.
Yeah, establishing order. But you see how it works when there's zero accountability. Because there is zero accountability for the IDF and there's zero accountability for the quote unquote settlers. Because who's going to hold them accountable? If they go and steal some land like this, who are the authority figures that show up? The IDF. And who do they side with? Who do they harass? Who do they kidnap? Who do they torture? And you'll notice in the CNN video that they they show the back of one Palestinian man, but they basically show no Palestinians, because if they do, once they leave town, Israel will go and probably kidnap and maybe kill those people because they were on CNN. That's how this world works. These people are genocidal maniacs, and there is zero accountability. And these Palestinians have lived on this land often, definitely for decades, but often for hundreds of years. It goes back, 4, 5, 6 generations. And then they just have people come up and say, it's ours now. What are you going to do? You're going to punch us? You're going to point a gun at us? Well, then we'll have the military come in and they'll probably kill you. Maybe if you're lucky, they'll just take you and torture you for a few years. Here's one more clip. And it's pretty unfathomable that even CNN's covering this. But
as you can see, one of them is right here. And, what's really quite striking is the fact that so many of these soldiers are clearly manifesting the same kind of settler ideology.
This soldier, Meir, makes that crystal clear.
עם ישראל חי.
אין לכם אישור להיות פה, גם בחוק ישראלית.
עוד מעט תהיה חוק.
גם בחוק ישראלית. זה לא יישוב עכשיו, זה לא יישוב חוקי, כן? זה לא יישוב חוקי.
אבל זה יהיה יישוב חוקי.
זה יהיה?
כן.
אוקיי.
לאט לאט.
sorry, I was muted there. I need to read some of this for those of you listening to the podcast. So the CNN reporter says to the IDF official, the IDF boy, let's be honest, the IDF boy, that this is illegal for them to settle here. This is illegal for them to be here. It's illegal under Israeli law too. Like, technically, Israeli law, you technically still have to get permission to go and quote unquote settle an area. And so it's actually illegal under Israeli law, but the IDF doesn't care. And so the CNN guy says that to him. This isn't a legal settlement. And the IDF dude just goes, yeah, that's right. But it will be a legal settlement. Basically, they'll steal the land and eventually we'll call it a settlement and then it will be legal. And then the reporter goes, oh, it will be. Okay, great. And then he sarcastically says to the soldier, thanks for your help. And the soldier says, I help my people. So he's admitting it. He's admitting the IDF goes in and helps people harass Palestinians, break the law, and steal the land. He's admitting it.
אני עוזר לעם שלי.
Meir is describing the settler playbook and the role Israeli soldiers often play in propping it up. The Israeli military did not respond to CNN's questions about soldiers' conduct in the West Bank, including.
So, yeah. And it's just, it's just so fucking frustrating. Like, they just operate with impunity and with when it comes to the West Bank, it's not even covered in the news. Like, it's just crazy. Thank you, Firepower, for supporting the community. If you want to join the community where you can actually post your own stuff and kind of be part of this little community we have here, then the place to do that is leecamp.net. Will take you to my locals page and scroll down to become a supporter. And then you can become a free supporter as well. But hopefully you want to become a $8 a month supporter. And then you can watch these live streams over with that community and you can chat with them, chat with all the cool people there. You can also post your own stuff on the leecamp.net page, and it's a cool place to be. It's where the cool kids hang out. All right, let's see. I want to get one more topic in here. This is one of those things that was like on the back burner for a month and I haven't covered it. So I'm going to throw it in here at the end that just because it's a nice, it just makes you feel good. It's just a feel good story at the end of the show. Mark Zuckerberg's little baby, the metaverse, has collapsed and he sunk $80 billion into it with a B, $80 billion into the metaverse. I don't know about you. I am out of the loop on certain things. There are certain movies and TV shows that are all the rage, and they go for 5 years, and I've never even heard of them. So I will admit, I'm out of plenty of loops. I have never played a VR video game, so maybe this is not my loop. Maybe this is not. But I have literally never had anyone tell me about anything in the metaverse. I've never had anyone mention the metaverse to me. I've never had anyone ask to have a meeting in the metaverse. I've never had anyone just go, hey, you don't happen to be on the metaverse, do you? Never one human. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you know all of your friends have hung out there, but holy shit, I've never heard of anyone in it. Meta's enormous, this is from TechCrunch, Meta's enormous bet on virtual reality ended last week with the company reportedly laying off 1,500 employees from Reality Labs, about 10% of the unit's staff, and shutting down several VR game studios. It's a huge reversal for the company that 4 years ago staked its entire identity on it and renamed themselves Meta. Like they renamed themselves Meta to go with the metaverse. Facebook renamed itself Meta in 2021, promising to usher in a new era of technology led by VR devices. In part, the decision was a bet on Gen Z's preference to socialize online. The change also helped Meta distance itself from the brand Facebook that everyone hated. But now they just connected themselves to something worse, I guess. I mean, people use Facebook to some degree. I know a lot. It's mainly older people. Meaning, when I say older people, older than 30, which includes me. But Facebook had me shadow banned for like 10 years there. But I'm back, baby. Meta's vision at that time was that the metaverse would be the next big social platform where users connected in a virtual world via Meta's Horizon Worlds app. Fast forward, and the metaverse has effectively been abandoned in favor of AI. The division lost money at a crazy rate. The company, so they say they funneled $73 billion to Reality Labs, but I think once you include other costs, it's $83 billion. So that's where I got the number $80 billion. But they funneled $73 billion to Reality Labs. To put that into context, you'd have to spend $1 million a day for 200 years to match $73 billion. Can you imagine how many people you could feed? Could you imagine how much you could change the world with $83 billion? And also, here's the thing. Mark Zuckerberg did this in order to help Facebook grow, help the brand, etc. Imagine if he hadn't done this and it instead funneled $83 billion to feeding the world and getting clean water to the world. By the way, that's enough to get clean water to which is the number one killer of humans. That's enough to get clean water to, I don't mean clean water, it's dirty water is to kill our humans. Clean water should be good for humans. But that's enough to get clean water to every human for like multiple years. Imagine what people would think of the Facebook brand if it solved world hunger for multiple years and got clean water to the world for multiple years. All of a sudden, Facebook would not be a dumb platform, which I am on. It would be like a world changer. Instead, they funneled that $80 billion into a fucking high school VR reality project. So for those of you not listening to the podcast, for those of you watching the video, right now on the screen was a legit image of the metaverse. It's become a meme now about how stupid it looks. It was an image from the metaverse that Mark Zuckerberg posted trying to brag about how awesome the metaverse is, but it legit looks like VR from like the early 2000s, maybe the 1990s. I feel like I remember VR looking like that in the 1990s or something. It legit looks like a high school, like high school computer programming. Go animate a cartoon on your own. It looks like that kind of thing. Anyway, and then of course compare this this garbage VR metaverse to like AI videos that are being created that look 100% real. Anyway, Meta was betting on, and if you build it, they will come strategy. They were more interested in the profits that could be made from running their own platform for apps and games than whether or not consumers even wanted these so-called face computers. They call them face computers because you have to wear that giant thing on your face to do anything. Like if you aren't wearing that giant thing on your face, then you can't interact. And really, here's what I think. Because like even for someone who makes bad decisions, this is a crazy bad. Like this is no one dumps 80 billion on. This is the most. It's got to be the largest disaster monetarily of a single project in the history of humanity. I mean, I can't imagine what else could compete with it. But I think what happened is you have Mark Zuckerberg, who doesn't understand humans. Like he is a robot. He clearly doesn't understand what humans want or why they want it. He stumbled into a social media platform that was very successful, but that doesn't mean he knows what the fuck humans want. So he A, doesn't understand humans, and B, he has said as much that he wanted to get off of the other platforms because Facebook is often viewed through iPhones, through other, like basically other people are controlling the devices. He wanted to get to their own device in their own world so that no one could stop them. And so his idea was, well, I'll get everybody to wear these head computers. Then we won't be in anyone else's world. We won't be on an iPhone. We won't be on a laptop. We'll be in our own world and we'll control it. That was his idea. It didn't matter whether people wanted to do it at all. It just was, if they did it, we'd make a crazy amount of money and we'd control the world. It's also very dystopian, like the idea that you just exist in this shitty fake world. And, you know, a lot of what we do is exist in a shitty fake world. So a lot of our current world is dystopian. But yes, they have finally called it quits, essentially, on the metaverse. I think they had first announced that they were actually going to shut it down at Horizon Worlds or whatever. And then there was enough outrage from the 500,000 people that actually use it that they said, okay, we won't shut it down, but we're not going to fix anything. So basically, you'll just exist in a dying world. You'll exist in a dying world within a dying world. You'll be in a virtual dying world inside of a real dying world. It'll be just dying worlds all the way down. People wonder what makes the Earth, what makes it so it can float in space. And some have postulated there's a big giant turtle under it. And then, well, what's below that? Well, it's turtles all the way down. Well, we're just dying worlds all the way down. That's what we are. So yeah, they apparently are leaving it running, but they're not going to be maintaining it, I guess. Boy, the metaphors of our current world are immense. We'll leave it running, but we're not fixing shit. That is America. That is straight up America. We'll leave the bridges there, but we're not fixing them. When they come down, they come down. Oh my God. Anyway. What it is, if you don't have Schadenfreude to see that asshole, see his empire collapsing with an $80 billion ridiculous mistake, then I don't understand you. If you don't have some Schadenfreude for that, I don't understand how you work or how you process things. I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, it's pretty beautiful to see Zuckerberg's. It was so infuriating to have this fucking goon, one of the richest people in the world, say to all of us, I understand the world that you want to be in, and I'm going to make it, and I'm not going to ask you whether you want to be there, and you're just going to need to be there, and you're going to put my shit on your head, and you're going to be in that world, whether you like it or not. Because when he announced it, everybody was like, it doesn't sound like anything I want to do, and he was like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you want to do it. I'm just going to make it, and you're doing it. All right. I'm going to wrap up there for today. I gave you a long episode, and I will be back Wednesday. I think we're doing Government Secrets Wednesday, so that airs at like 9 a.m. Eastern, but you can watch it anytime during the day. And then Friday, I'll be back with another live stream, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And no Unredacted tonight. But you do have new Substack articles to go check out. So you do have homework, and you'll be quizzed on that next live stream. Thanks a lot. Join up, reallycamp.substack.com. Keep fighting.